It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey everyone,
Hello.
how's it going?
How's it going? Gary, you're in the airport again.
I am. I'm in a phone booth in the brand new Sky Club, Delta Sky Club in LAX. It's beautiful. There's about 40 phone booths in here. So you can
that's
see
nice.
It's like a little teeny, like, one of those phone booths that you see in co-working spaces. And
cool.
so I'm sitting in here, nice and quietly, and I get to do rAVe TV live from here. But
awesome.
This is our weekly TV show that comes on every Wednesday at noon Eastern, without fail. rAVe TV, which is on it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter when Twitter works, it's on it's obviously on ravepubs.com, and it's also on youtube.com/ravepubs and LinkedIn. Yes, we're coming to you live on LinkedIn, and this is a big show. Now, we're not going to be honest with you. Steph and I decided we're not going to tell you much about ISE because we're going to make sure that you come to an event that we're going to have about ISE. Yeah, so why don't you talk about that, Steph?
Yeah, Replay ISE, it's going to be February 15th, and this is kind of our chance to show you everything on the show floor if you missed it, or if you were like, I talked to Justin Kennington the other day of SDVOE, and he was like, I did not get to leave Hall 5 once. So I said, boy, do I have an event for you, because we're going to show you all of the halls. We're going to pick out our favorite products, and a lot of these, they're not sponsored. They're just things that we liked. And luckily we have Sarah Abrams, who is working on our side and has watched every single video that we've shot, because she writes an article after watching every single video that we shoot. And she writes about the trends that she's noticed. And I'm very pleased to say that this year it was 1,700 videos that she watched through. So it's going to be a really, really good time. And we've also even made 2 different sessions of this. So we have one for our European audience that's going to be 2 p.m. CET. And we have one for our American audience, which is going to be noon EST. And they're completely 2 different sessions. One geared more toward a European audience with European products, one geared more toward our American audiences. So highly recommend joining, and you'll get to see everything that you did not get to see even if you came to the show. So highly recommend.
And actually both of them are actually going to be at 2 p.m. local time.
Yes.
So we're going to have 2 p.m. CET time and 2 p.m. East Coast North American time.
Exactly.
And it's going to be filled with, as Steph said, organic coverage, but we're going to curate. I mean, 1,700 videos. We're obviously not going to show them to you. You're going to have to go watch them yourself. Go to ravepubs.com/ISE, and you can watch them yourself. And you can type in topic. You could say projector. You can type in monitor. You can type in a brand. You could do any kind of search you can think of, and you can find all the videos we shot about that particular topic. So you could type in PTZ cameras, for example. Mm-hmm. You could type in Jabra and just see the Jabra videos. You could type in Epson, just see the Epson videos. So the microsite's designed so that it makes it easy for you to find anything. Right at the top, it has a video search as well as a topic search. So you can also search all of our articles. Steph mentioned over 1,700 videos. We also have over 400 news stories. Yeah. Over 400 show floor photos posted on the microsite as well. And Steph, we set a record with engagement on social media. We had more than 33 million impressions with a combination of Twitter and LinkedIn. Dominated the show. Literally about, it appears that somewhere between 70 and 80% of the total show impressions were due to rAVe Pubs. So that's your team, Steph, and everyone behind the scenes that worked so hard to make this happen. Literally, can you think about this? 80% of the people, 80% of the time somebody was talking on social media, it was about us or it was from us. So that's pretty substantial. That's going to be a record for us as well. And second most impressions was something like 3 million. So we were more than 10 times number 2. So we're excited about that. So we're doing a special event all specifically around, as Steph said, just around ISE, called Replay ISE. It's on the 15th. Scan the QR code, please sign it. Even if you think you can't go, but for 10 minutes, or even if you think you might want to watch it later, because we'll record it and save it. Yeah, go ahead and sign up for it, so that way you get notifications about it. We don't sell your email address to anyone else. Speaking of notifications, Steph, I saw We do have a little bit of ISE stuff. Don't we have a little bit to talk about ISE?
Yeah. I have some pictures that we can throw up and just like, show a little bit of what the show floor looked like, because we were talking like backstage before this that like the show floor was actually quite busy, as you can see from the video or the photo that we've just put up there. Yeah, this was one of the busiest shows I've ever been to since I've been full-time. Obviously, the first time I started going to shows with rAVe was 2016, so very busy InfoComm then. But this is like kind of just reminded me of that, of like how busy a show could be. So it was very exciting.
Yeah, 58,000 people, the most people since 2019, 58,000, yes. The most they've had in Barcelona so far. And the aisles were, as you'll see from replay when we show that, aisles were packed, as you can see from this shot here. There was not a time where there weren't people walking around. I left after the second day, and everyone said that that the show floor traffic on the third day was the same. Fourth day was slower, obviously, but it was still busy. It was still busy from what I understand.
So yeah, it was so great. We had a great time. This show was a blast. Like, I know we're really busy. Like, as you can see, I'm smiling there. Like, I had a blast. Like, we work really hard. Thank you. We work really hard at trade shows, and we work really hard to make sure that we get everything on the site in a timely manner. But I think it was very apparent from the team there that like we had an absolute blast making sure that we got this done. Oh, Gary, look, it's me and you at Epson stand.
Yeah, that was really fun. Was that Epson or Pan? I can't remember where that was. I think you're right.
Yeah. There you were.
Well, let's talk about this real quick. There was a ton of immersion at this show. A lot of XR stages, like 10 XR stages. One of the XR stages, our guest today is going to really love, Scott Tyner, because he's in the higher education. One of the guests, one of the stages, XR stages at Canon's booth, was all about how higher education can use XR technology to expand the reach and do some really cool things. And they built an XR stage that was less than $40,000. So you're talking about bringing XR down to a price that is affordable even by higher education.
That was always
and as you mentioned,
my qualm with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
it's
new, right? Anytime it's new, it's going to be more expensive, right? So yeah, it's always a thing. But I want to go back and show. I actually was honored to be speaking. I actually led a panel for CEDIA. Actually, it was their annual meeting. They randomly, messaged me a couple of weeks before the show and said, "Will you lead the annual meeting?" There's the president of CEDIA, the new CEO of CEDIA, Daryl, and I had there was 5 or 6 guests on the stage, and we talked about CEDIA's growth internationally. And also one of the things we talked about, Steph, which was just launched today. If you go to ravepubs.com this afternoon, there's an article about it called Next Gen. It'll be posted this afternoon. CEDIA's Next Gen program, we don't have the article up there yet, but I just wrote up the story, Steph. But CEDIA's Next Gen program is specifically designed to bring more people, more kids into the AV industry. I don't know that any other company besides rAVe has done what we've done. I think we are probably responsible for at least exposing the most number of college students to our industry. We're now over 1,000 interns 200 interns over the course of, what is that number? Maybe it is 1,000. Emily told me the other day, and I can't remember. It's driving me crazy now. But if we figure we did between 15 and 30 twice a year for the last 13 years, whatever that is. So probably over 500 interns have we brought to shows to help us cover the show. We've exposed a lot of people, but the issue is, one of the things that was brought up at that panel was that everyone is really busy right now and they're having a hard time doing installs. So imagine what it's going to be like when all the manufacturers are delivering all their gear, how much harder it's going to be. We are at a shortage of good talent in our industry, and this Next Gen program is going to do that. But
that's cool. But yeah, I'm excited to continue talking about ISE, and like Gary and I said, we're going to save a lot of that coverage for our event, and we're very excited about it. But continuing on, something else that we're really excited about is, you might know about our temperature check that we've been doing for rAVe Pubs, and that is kind of your chance to let us know your opinions on a few different topics in the industry, and we're keeping it really UCC for February. So if you could do us a favor, please scan the QR code and fill out that survey. We are again giving away 2 $50 Amazon gift cards to random people who fill out the survey. And this is just a really good chance for us to see what people in the industry care about and what they think about different things. So, that's really all this is just like really us wanting to take a temperature check of what you AV tweeps think about different things in the industry. And we're kind of using that to determine some of our coverage and want to include more things about what you guys care about. So just throwing that out there. And before we continue on, we're going to show a quick spot from our sponsor and partner, Shure.
When we're looking at vocal mics, we want the mic to produce the artist in a true form. And it was immediately obvious to us that the KSM-11 was doing that better than anything else.
When I compared it to the other very popular mic, the 11 had a much better high end to it. It was much smoother, much more natural.
I love it is because it makes my performance effortless.
The vocal is just more upfront somehow.
It's cutting right through. It just sounds so amazing.
The goal of the KSM-11 was to make the most transparent microphone capsule that we could. Field testing is a critical component of designing a product at Shure. And working with industry engineers, we were able to identify the smallest detailed decisions that had the greatest impact in design.
We were getting ready for a run of festivals. A festival is your best test, really, because it's outdoors, the elements and everything. She stepped out on stage and she still had clarity.
Benny was actually a totally different beast. He was a lot more comfortable, and the spill from the band was actually much lesser.
Those early KSM-11 prototypes sounded great. We could have actually shipped that product, but that's not how we do things at Shure.
Shure is a company that understands the bigger picture with their product and how they're designed not just for the user, but also the audience.
Rappers, MCs, they always cup the mic. That is the notorious problem with hip hop.
It's not very cool to hold a microphone like this, So you need a microphone that sounds good when you hold it like this or when you hold it like this.
I actually talked to Shure and I said, boy, it'd be really nice if you guys had a mic that could do this. And so they sent me the capsule, the KSM-11, an early version of it. I sent back some notes. They sent me back another one and I was like, you nailed it, you got it. It is consistent whether or not your artist cups the mic.
As a musical theatre vocal mic, where achieving vocal clarity is absolutely sound design 101. My first experiences of it is that it is a great step forward.
One of the other things to consider when you pick a vocal mic isn't just how it sounds in the room, but how it sounds in broadcast. And we were so impressed with how it came across on the streams, on the broadcast, and how it stood up to being listened to in that environment, as well as in a busy room.
I love designing new microphones. As you design a product over years, you learn exactly what customers need. And being able to finally deliver that need to our customers is the most exciting part.
The KSM-11 compared to other capsules, I think it's far superior.
Put it in your lineup because it's going to be a natural sounding mic.
We're using it on our leading man with absolutely no debate.
It's honest and it does exactly what you need it to do as an engineer.
I can just trust it. I can trust that capsule to get the job done.
Well,
right.
Gary, you've got some. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, you don't, like, as a layman, as someone who just goes to concerts, realize that you can't say to an artist, you got to hold the mic like this, like how we have to do that when we're at trade shows. We can say to someone when they're being interviewed, no, you got to pull the mic up a little bit. But saying that to Eminem, he's going to say, no, I'm doing what I want to do. So if you want me to perform with your mics, you're going to make a mic for me. And I never thought about the engineering that went into, if somebody's going to hold the mic up like this, it's still going to be able to be discernible what the person is saying or singing about. So, yeah.
They're a great company. I know I have to say it because they're a sponsor, but I've respected them and liked their products so much more before that. So
well, you don't have to say it because they're a sponsor.
But I mean it, I'm bad at lying. Continuing on, Gary, you've got a hot take this week in your latest piece on why Microsoft Teams Rooms front row looks so bad. So, Gary, First of all, tell me, why does it look so bad?
I mean, at first pass at that article, you're going to think that I don't like Microsoft Teams Front Row. Actually, I love it, but the quality of the video does not look good. And what's weird about it is that Teams specs, and I'll let you read the article for yourself, but Teams, if you look at the Teams room specification, it gives you a specification that's basically slightly higher than 2K. It's like 2300 by 1080, right? But yet they want you to put it on a 5K display. So everybody's putting it on a 5000 by 2000 resolution display. So you're looking at 1080p on a 4K display or 5K display. So the chat on the right side and the list of people, you can't read it. It's blurry.
Yeah.
And so and all that's a wrapper. I understand why the video resolution's low because, you see we're not doing high resolution streaming, but the wrapper that's around it includes the chat and the branding and all that kind of stuff could be higher resolution because it's just coming from the PC. This issue was brought to my attention, I've noticed it. I didn't know exactly what the issue was, but I was in the Avacor booth and Brian Carsiadam walked up to me and said, dude, you need to look at this. And I looked at it and I was like, you know what, you're right. This is crazy. And then I went to Sharp and EC's booth. I looked at Epson's booth, everyone that had Microsoft Teams Front Row. I went to Microsoft's booth running, and all of them, the image looks blurry because they're running 1080 basically on a 4K display or slightly higher resolution. So everyone is scaling up. When all Microsoft really has to do is output the native resolution of the display, especially since they are speccing the display. So it's weird.
Why wouldn't they just do that then? Is that a stupid question?
I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one talking about this, but maybe my article will inspire them to actually just go ahead and do it. This is an issue that I know that the top 3 integrators in the country have brought to my attention at various times. I didn't realize how big of an issue it was until, ultimately looking at a trade show floor and seeing all the different, our display quality just keeps getting better. But if the content coming to it isn't good, we can't make it look better than it was natively.
It's like,
so
it's almost like it's not catching up quick enough, like we keep updating the technology, but nobody's everyone's being like, but wait, the content just isn't, people aren't making
it's a great
like that yet.
It's a great thing. Front Row's remarkable for hybrid meetings. It really
for sure
steps it up a notch. Zoom's going to copy it eventually, but the resolution just needs to be fixed. This is a simple fix. Microsoft will fix it. Hopefully, people in our industry notice because it's, we're all about resolution and quality. And I think the regular consumer doesn't notice, but once they see the difference, they're going to like it a lot better.
They're going to be like, oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense. And this is something you brought up in your crystal ball, which will be going live later today. So Gary, any other little hints of what we can expect in crystal ball?
Yeah, the crystal ball article goes live this afternoon. I did the webinar yesterday, and we had the highest attended webinar in Almo history yesterday. Awesome. A huge, not the highest registrations. It was close to it. The esports one still had the highest registration, but it was very high level of engagement. A lot of questions. Stuff that I put in there, for example, is I had a list of 12 new companies that you should pay attention to that you probably have never heard of. I have some new products and technology you probably hadn't thought about. I talk about why I think 2023 is going to be the biggest year for projector sales since 2015, specifically. And you can ask Scott Tyner about this, but I did a presentation yesterday live at Epson to a bunch of higher education professionals. And I asked them, I said, what do you think about this? And they were all in agreement. And the reason why I said that projectors is going to have a big year this year is that the upgrade cycles in higher education got disrupted by COVID. And so what happens, all the money that would have gone to projectors was going to mics and cameras and things like that. Yeah. Now all of a sudden they have that money to spend on projectors. So all of a sudden in 1 year, you're going to do 3 years of upgrades. So 3 cycles of upgrades. So this is going to be a record year. And the question is whether or not the projector industry can keep up with it. That's going to be the issue. I also talked about some new UC technology. I talk about this really new functionality. 2 companies are doing something cool to seam images together to make really good hybrid experiences. And I'll give you the analogy. One analogy is, do you know how I don't know if you have one of these cars, Steph. I don't, but I've seen other people with these kind of cars where you put the car in reverse, or the car, you put it in a self-park mode or park mode, and you can see a view all the way around the car because it sums 6 different cameras from around the car, and you can actually see the sidewalk and the road and the stuff in front of the car. That's done with HD-Base T. HD-Base T is coming out with a version of this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, no, I drive a 2014 Ford. Mine does not do that, guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I have a Jeep. Mine doesn't do that. But the HD Base T is doing the same thing. They're going to be able to take 4 PTZ cameras using the CSI, the camera serial interface, not even the HDMI output, and then seam the images together into one large image, so one large digital canvas. So this is beyond 1080. This is like beyond 360 because it has the smarts, AI smarts to know what to focus on. And what I mean by that is, and Huddley's the other company. So there's HD Base T and Huddley.
Yes.
And here's how it works.
Huddley.
Imagine seaming this image together and having this giant digital canvas of what's going on in the meeting room. Okay, now here's the cool thing. So it's pointed at me because I'm talking. And while I'm talking, Steph, you do this. Because you often do that. And so you miss that, right? You miss that if you're not in the meeting, right? But what happens is with this new technology, it's captured that. It knows that you did that. And what it does is later in the, like 2 seconds after you do it, it cuts it in. So it's like a 3-camera shoot on a TV show. It cuts it in. So you as a remote viewer get to see that response. Even if it's not in real time, you're seeing it a couple seconds later. So the AI is smart enough to know that's a response other people would want to see, a rolling of eyes, and it knows to do it really quickly so that you kind of get the feel of what it's like to be in a meeting. This is game changing. I talk about that in my crystal ball, among other things. There's about 20 topics in there of things that are going to happen in 2023. I'm very excited. Steph, you read the whole thing. I honestly believe it's my best crystal ball in 23 years. I've been writing it for 23 years. I think it's my best one.
It's good. Honestly, like this is the one that's needed the least edits of the ones that I've edited in my time. So like that says.
Well, I read it 4 times.
Yeah,
I read it.
You did a
Usually
good job.
I write it and hand it over, but I read it 4 times. So yeah.
Yeah. So you did a great job, honnly. And I'm excited for everyone to read it.
Well, thank you.
I know
much.
I know you've got to go
this afternoon.
Yep.
I've got to fly. I got to go. I'm going to go watch my niece get married, and so I got to go do that. And so I'm taking a couple of days off. But thanks to everyone behind the scenes, Carrie, specifically for doing this. I know you got Scott Tyner on later on during the show. Please say hello to him for me, will you?
I will.
All right.
Later. All right. And continuing on, another one of our sponsors and partners that we are very grateful for here at rAVe TV is rAVe. And they wanted us to just briefly talk about the C2G USB-C hybrid triple 4K display docking station with display link and DP alt mode. So yes, that is quite the name. But basically what it is it transforms USB-C enabled laptops into desktop solutions all through a single USB-C connection. So it gives you more video outputs, connected peripherals, really quick data transfers, all while keeping your laptop charged and ready to go. So highly recommend checking out this docking station. You can check it out by scanning the QR code right below my face. So continuing on, I really quickly am going to bring up a piece of news. I'm sure you might have seen that Barco released a new LED solution at ISE 2023, and this exists along its TruePix line. So just kind of goes to show how Barco is really solidifying itself in every area of the market. And this LED solution kind of is meant to complete its LED portfolio. It's got image performance, color quality, and it is powered by Barco's InfiniPix Gen 2 processing. So if you want to see the whole story, it is on ravepubs.com. You can scan the QR code and it'll take you to an option to click that link as well. Finally, another sponsor and partner we are grateful for here at rAVe TV is Aver Pro AV. And this video that we are going to show details a little bit about the MD330 series. And when this video is over, we're going to bring on Scott Tyner. So check this out. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Steph, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. A
I'm
little bit jealous that I'm not returning from Barcelona. But I get to see it through all of you.
Yes. Okay. I honestly you should make a plan to come next year. Do you think that Bates would let you come?
I think, especially hearing some of what you and Gary were just talking about, and I think that actually, as I think about the future of trade shows, the more they show demos of products rather than just boxes sitting on shelves, the more they focus on certain industries, the easier it's going to be for higher ed to make an argument to go to a place like that. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that is something that is very, very quickly changing at trade shows, because I remember even when I first started, it was just like, yeah, if they have a matrix switcher, it's sitting on a little pedestal. And I'm like, okay, great. I wasn't full time at this point. I was like, I don't know what this is, but yeah, sure, let's take a video. But now it's become so much more important to show you why this is an important matrix switcher,
Yeah, especially since it's not all about announcements anymore. Like they're announced throughout the year. So now it's about show me how this product works and relates to me.
Exactly. And that's going to continue to be that way as trade shows continue. But I was thinking about, I needed to work on this piece a little more. I was going to write a piece where I just include basically a letter that people can write and fill in for their bosses to try to convince them to let them come to ISE or Infocom. I think there's one that exists on Avixa's site for Infocom, but I was going to write one for ISE that maybe people could use, because I would love to encourage more people to come to that show. It's great.
Yeah.
But continuing on, I wanted to talk about your most recent column, which I just posted earlier this week, and that is budget, inventory, and standards. So, Scott, tell me a little bit about what is going on in the classroom right now.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I've fielded a lot of questions and comments about this blog just within the few days that it's been posted, and I think so. First of all, and I say in the piece, this really isn't against any company. It's about kind of the business at this point of higher ed, and what do we need to do as in-house integrators or tech managers, whatever you want to call us, to ensure that our school is safe, that we can move forward. We're getting budget cuts. I mean, it was in the Chronicle, right? So I'm not spoiling anything. Bates was told 5% budget cut, make it happen next year because of the cost of electricity and fuel and the like. Then we're getting price increases from various vendors. Things can't come in. And as Gary did point out, we are somewhere between 2 and 3 years of not having replaced stuff. So it's really about the business of rethinking how we did stuff, particularly around standards. And many of us have been really happy and working really well with the particular companies. But that has to change, because it's not sustainable. And we're not really sure when it's going to be sustainable again, if ever.
Yeah. Why do you think it's, I don't even know, what do you think it's going to take to get out of this hole?
Well, that's a good question. And we think, China opened back up. They had a big case of COVID, but now they seem to be getting over that. They seem to be fully open again. But now there's geopolitical problems with the spy balloon and the Secretary of State not going to China. So you start to realize, I think what we learned is how fragile the supply chain is.
Yeah.
And how much we depend on other places, and how quickly that can get disrupted, and how exponentially long it takes to get us back on track. So I don't know. I think that that's part of this piece about being more flexible and being open to more options, is that you have to be able to pivot. And many of us didn't. I mean, that's why we haven't done upgrades for 2 or 3 years. We weren't able to pivot to a new company.
Right. I can kind of see this almost forming in a crossroads where either companies or manufacturers are going to double down and continue trying to make even more proprietary things for whatever reason. Or I see some unlikely partnerships potentially being formed so that customers can get product even if it's not their own.
Yeah, and I think that I've written about this before, and I'm sure Steph, that lots of higher ed tech managers talk amongst themselves. We have lots of channels to do that, and a big piece of what a lot of them are saying right now is, give us a non-proprietary black box. Give us something that makes the switches, and let us do the programming. So if you could get a company that really understood that and really understood why that's a special need in education, maybe it is other words, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you've got a real winning option there if you can do that.
That, I mean, honestly, like I totally understand like the politics of why that doesn't exist already, but I'm sure there's a manufacturer out there who is like, we're going to be the ones to do this, and they're going to make a lot of money from it. So
Yep.
maybe somebody will watch this and be like, it's going to be us. Like, here's hoping.
And I'd even argue to their business side to say, if you end up in a disruption 2 years from now, you don't have masses of people leaving. They might go use a different product for 6 months, but then they'll come back to you when you're operating again well. So there's a business argument for that as well.
That's true. Do you think that this is going to have to like change the way manufacturers think about their products, or do you think that this is just us talking and kind of just being more hopeful than we should?
Well, I'll tell you, when I look at the world right now, after the pandemic, right, if there's such a thing, people are going back to offices, people are being forced into offices, education's kind of right back to where it used to be. Changing people is really, really hard. So I don't know, Steph. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of business sense. Man, changing people's habits is really hard.
Yeah. No, it really is. Last question for you, Scott. I know you said that people have been talking about this a lot with you on like social media. Is where can they reach out to you if they want to talk a little bit more?
Certainly to my email address. I think it's in all my rAVe columns, but also on Twitter. I love social media. I love having conversations, stirring things up, learning things. It's always fun.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on rAVe TV today. Appreciate you.
Thanks for the invite.
See you next time. All right. And last thing from me before you go, don't forget to sign up for Launch Week 7. It is going to be March 6th through 9th, 12:30 to 3 Eastern Time. Don't forget, you are going to be able to get CTSRUs from this. So there's going to be 4 days, each organized by vertical. And each day you come, each day you attend the full day. That is 2.5 CTSRUs with the full option to get 10 if you come to the entire thing. So if you need those, here's your chance. It's going to be great and interesting. So we really hope you join. Gary is going to host a few different sessions. He's going to host a vertical update session each day of the show. So he's going to be talking about general UCC updates, which that is constantly something that's changing and becoming more important in our industry, as I'm sure all of you know. Emerging technology, kind of same there, digital signage, and rAVe. So we are looking forward to it. Make sure you scan that QR code and register, and we cannot wait to see you there. It's going to be great. So I think that is our show for this week. So make sure you scan the QR code and sign up for all the events coming up. We're very excited to put them on for you guys. And thanks for joining another episode of rAVe TV. I'm Steph Beckett. The guy who was here earlier was Gary K. And we'll see you next week, same time, same place, 12 Eastern. Yep, that's it. Okay, bye.
It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV.